Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here wherever you may be, and of course, however you may be listening. Got a fun one for you guys today, especially you kings out there and the few ladies that understand. And even those of you who say you do, I'm not so sure, especially after watching this video. You guys know this is the type of video I've made many times in the past, and I have another one coming up that I'm going to be making. May even be released by the time I drop this, which is going to be detailing Lauren Southern's text messages, or maybe not whatever messages she had with Destiny, which usually I'm not terribly interested in, but I do think it speaks to a larger issue, which of course I'm going to highlight today as well. In the right wing, in general, there are a lot of fake, faux individuals. The right wing, especially in the era of Donald Trump, has been a wing that has been infiltrated, but it's also been a cash cow of sorts. So it's really been a financial avenue or opportunity for a lot of individuals, and they absolutely see it. And even if this weren't the case, in the right wing, for the audience, there's always this aura of, and I participate in it as well. But you're not conservative enough. You're really a liberal. You're whatever the case may be, because the right wing really does have, much like the left wing, and I've detailed this in previous videos as well, whether in like secondary commentary or a direct video on this. But I think I did actually do a video directly on this. But just to keep this video focused, in the right wing, there is and has been a war of ideology brewing. And essentially, it is between the neocons, the new age conservatives, which largely came forth during the Reagan era and the conflict with Mother Russia, and of course paleoconservatives that are more isolationists, more traditional, who allow their Christian background, their Christian tilt, to influence their worldview far more than a neoconservative would. And so a part of this, and this is why I mentioned the Lauren Southern video that I'm going to be making. A part of this is infiltration. And when Donald Trump came forward, it really did, and the emergence of YouTube and alternative media, there really has been a huge avenue for people to emerge that really are not conservative, and see the space for what it is and capitalize on the disenfranchised audience of conservatives that have been disenfranchised within America, largely from the 1990s onward. I would argue it's even been before that. And because of this, you have said emergence. And then on top of that, just a group that is, there's many different people who come into this space with different backgrounds that are infiltrating, and some are more nefarious than others. I would say the biggest one is for financial reasons, is the e-girl thought. Okay, the fake conservative girl, the fake traditional girl that loves the patriarchy, that loves men, loves strong men, and this and that. And time again, yours truly has said that not only should you limit the amount of content that you watch of conservative women, because number one, especially if you're a traditional man, women should not be leaders. Not only that, but they, by extension, they should not be teaching you. They should not be instructing. They should not be giving any sort of informative things. Okay. Um, and it's not to say that to put them down per se, but as a traditional minded individual, we do believe in gender roles. Okay. Now, this is largely disintegrated since the 1960s. And I think we are seeing an emergence, a renaissance, if you will, of people waking up and changing and really pushing back against the idea of feminism. I think feminism really is on its last breath now, on its last leg. Now, does that mean that it's going to end in our lifetime? No. But our children, our children's children, may have a chance to inhabit a world that does not have this nefarious, evil worldview. And so you have a lot of these conservative e-girls that come into the space and spout all this bullshit. And time again, when push comes to shove, you have Nala, you have, more nefarious people like Nala who capitalize on the Christian side of things and, being a convert and a good girl and after being a naughty girl, whatever the case may be. But time and time again, you have the exposing, especially on the whatever podcast, Fresh and Fit, of these conservative women, these traditional women. And I've made plenty of videos on this. It is rampant. Their worldview gets tested even in the slightest, and they melt down. And we're going to be watching the video. Andrew Wilson does a superb job on this. I remember one time I was in his chat, and he went after some of these older women that were purporting to be newfound traditional women, uh, expecting a man to make certain amount of money, be a certain type of man, but they are not themselves that type of woman. And really, that's what this boils down to: is a lot of men just want, if you're going to be putting that expectation this way towards men, then it's only fair for it to be coming right back in your direction. So this is a beautiful video. This is a Israeli Republican figure. I had never seen her before. This video or her appearance on the whatever podcast. I did actually see her, and I actually might react to this video. She was a part of Tim Pool's election night stream. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is another grifter, is Tim Pool. There is nobody who has been able to capitalize more from the right wing who is not actually a conservative than fucking Tim Pool. But I digress. That's a different video for a different day. So I saw her there. The last thing I want to say, just to put a bow on kind of my intro to the clip that we're going to be watching, is I have said many times, and I'm not new to this belief. I heard it from others, and I totally agree with it. You should not, much like Nala and some of these like converted uh former prostitutes, um in the same vein, why you shouldn't be watching them. You should not be watching any woman when it comes to the political space. They should not be in the space. And ultimately, as a man, you need to ask yourself a question: why are you truly watching this content? And I, I have been guilty of this myself. When I was in my early years going through college, there were plenty of women conservatives that I watched their content. Lauren Southern, Lauren Chen, until it was pointed out to me, like I'm doing to perhaps some of you now. Um, you need to ask yourself why you're watching it. And if there's any inkling or any ounce of you watching it because you find that girl attractive, you need to stop it right then, right there, because it is not. It's not good for you. It's not conducive. It's not appropriate, and it does not go along with traditional conservative values. They shouldn't be in politics. They shouldn't be um, uh, instructing or giving any sort of uh, advice on this stuff or commentary on this stuff. They are much better suited for other things. Now, we're going to check this video out. Before we do, I want to ask you guys to hit that subscribe button. Let's get this channel to 1,000 subs. Like, comment. You guys know the drill. I'm glad to be back. I'm going to be posting a ton more content here. I have the time for the next week or so. So we're going to be dominating putting some videos out here. And this is a great clip, guys. It really is. And without further ado, let's get into this. My last comment before I play this clip here. By the way, follow me on Twitter as well, Life as a Chad, at Life as a Chad. Is this is something that has infiltrated actual politics as well. And this is one of my criticisms of Trump. I know Rachel Wilson has this criticism, and I know Andrew Wilson has this criticism as well, on top of other traditional conservatives. But Trump as well has an affinity for putting and filing women in his cabinet and putting them in positions of prominence. Most recently, the whole Matt Gaetz saga, which I'll probably do a video on that as well. Matt Gaetz stepped down. I think that was the plan the whole time, in favor of a Zionist, uh, a former Florida attorney general woman. She's the first ever, apparently, whatever the fuck, whatever position she was put in. I haven't looked into it too much yet, and I can't even remember her name off the top of my head. But she was just promoted to that position. So this is rampant all over the place. And this is why this is a big deal. And I honestly believe that this is one of the top three main external aspects of the culture war, especially within the conservative movement, that we need to pay close attention to. All right, here we go. This was a post from Punisher Batman. And of course, this comes from the Whatever podcast. Contradiction in real time. TradCon at the Deborah Lay, I think is her name. Let's see. Deborah Leah. I love patriarchy. We should give men more authority so women can focus on painting nails, stay at home, prepare sour bread. Andrew, so why do you support women voting? Deborah, because I love voting and patriarchy sucks. You can't make this shit up, guys.
The thing is, though, is if you give them more responsibility, right? If you give them more responsibility, then you're going to have to also give them the authority. And so you can't say, well, we're going to take authority away from men, which.
And so, of course, that's a common critique that Andrew always that he puts forward, and it's a great critique because it's so true. The modern issue that men have is we still have to hold true to our gender norms. We still have all of the expectation and all the responsibility that men of old have had, without the same authority, which is the problem.
Which is what egalitarianism has done. And
if not more so, honestly, I would say in some regards we have more responsibility.
Still give them the same amount of responsibility and have the expectation that you're going to have a society which isn't fucked from top to bottom, because it is. So the thing is like, sure, hold men more accountable than women, but as long as they have the authority, is the girl here, right? Nobody's going to say anything about it. But the second you say we're equal, well, then you need to have equal accountability.
I don't disagree at all. I love the patriarchy. I think men should lead, and us women can focus on painting our nails, making sourdough starters, being moms. I think the feminist movement is the only reason that.
The thing is,
holy fuck, did she just pull that out of fucking Moms Are Us magazine? That man, could she have chosen a more stereotypical modern, like, woman housewife thing? It's just so funny, like, how they don't view it as a duty or a responsibility, and rather it's a way of life. It's a choice. And that's the thing, guys, is a lot of these women are choosing this. They're choosing to say this because they see it as being fashionable. And that is the thing that you're seeing in the right wing. A lot of people say things because it is fashionable, and you see that mainly with the women in the space. So you have to be extremely weary of that. Here's the next clip. We're going to watch the full clip after this, but I wanted to do it in shorter segments here before we play the full clip.
Why would you advocate women vote? That makes no sense.
Because I love voting, and I think women should vote.
Because you love voting?
Because I'm an active member of society. Okay.
Because I love.
Yeah, I just love voting. Who fucking loves voting? Voting is a pain in the ass, honestly. Like it's like, especially if you're a actual productive member of society and don't have a ton of fucking time on your hands, it sucks. It's not this like pleasure thing that she's fucking trying to make it out to be here.
I want to, Andrew, because I want to.
Well, this is what I mean when you take what I say and you put it. This is why I called you a groiper too. You don't think women should vote. You take what I say and you put it through a ringer it's not conservative.
If you really.
All right, let's watch the main one here and play the full clip.
Women can focus on painting or.
And this, of course, is from the Crucible channel. Hopefully they're okay with me playing this video.
Yeah, it's good.
But of course it's from the Whatever podcast as well.
Making sourdough starters, being moms. I think the feminist movement is the only reason that women have to work nowadays because of the dual income. And I think
it's not. It's not to be pampered. No, it's the opposite, right?
By the way, guys, in this video or the full stream, this girl was like the most stereotypical woman I've ever seen. Like anytime there was conflict, she was always the one that was like, come on guys, let's calm down. Let's just look pretty and and let's just be. And then even here she makes the comment, making babies. Fucking women prattle.
The idea. So this is the faux idea of what the patriarchy is supposed to do, which is enable you to be a pampered princess. It's not. What the patriarchy is supposed to do is protect you so that you can fulfill your duties and responsibilities to society, and that would including reproduction and being matrons for the next generation.
I literally said be a mom and make sourdough starters. That goes hand in hand with being a traditional housewife. Make bread for your family.
Being a pampered princess.
Have you ever made sourdough starters? If you think making a sourdough,
did you say anything about duty and responsibility? You said
I said paint your nails, make sourdough, and be a mother.
They should get Post-it notes.
Be a mother and make sourdough.
The problem is that there's so few men in the space that legitimately call this bullshit out, which is a problem. Surprise, Tim Pool does not point this shit out on his fucking pod.
You've never made sourdough, then you don't know how hard it is to keep that thing alive. And it's part of making fresh bread for your family, making natural ingredients, meals that don't have toxic chemicals in them. I think that all goes hand in hand.
Those are making sourdough bread, stuff like this, the ingredients for it, with whatever your modern luxuries are. They're just that. They're luxuries. They're gifted. They're literally gifted to women by men. Modern luxuries are. Definitely women are not gifting women modern luxury. That's insane. The thing is that women have a duty and responsibility, an ethical duty and responsibility under Christian ethics to multiply, to have families, to reproduce. They have a duty under Christian ethics to raise the next generation correctly and be matrons to young women so that we don't have the problem of pornography and things like this. That's all gone. So as long as that duty is displaced from society for women, and instead all that's left is, I love the patriarchy as long as they give me a life of luxury. We have essentially, that's still just as regressive as the idea that, egalitarianism is bad and I would prefer the patriarchy because I get a life of luxury. They're equally bad. So equally bad.
That's a great point Andrew makes, because if you, in the simplest terms, if you think about what being a conservative means, it means conserving values of some sort and conserving aspects of whatever society you live in. And the worldview that you believe in. But also, it means that you are adverse to the idea of progressivism. And progressivism believes in tearing down gendered roles in favor of this kind of carte blanche. Whatever you want to do is totally up to you. There's no duties, there's no responsibilities, and there is nothing better that you could do as a woman to combat that than to be a mother, to have children, and to fulfill those God-given responsibilities. And notice I didn't say right because it's not necessarily a right, but it is definitely a duty. That is absolutely what I would call it.
Bad way to view it, I think.
Well, I didn't say any of that. I think you think I think that because you think you know how women think, but it's not, oh, let's just have the patriarchy and do nothing. I'm very into traditional, really. Yeah, please. I'm very supportive of traditional relationships.
Okay, Brian, fuck, dude.
Especially like in Judaism, that's a huge thing, and that's something I've always been raised around. And if we're talking about, you wanted to bring up Christianity, then in Judaism, there's a lot where men are the leaders, but women are actually holier. They have a higher connection to God because of their ability to bring life into this world and everything around that. So to me, if you want to say that, like, it's just funny that these old-fashioned, what were commodities or just basic necessities, actually, being able to make bread, you had to make your own bread, cleaning your home, women used to have to make their own cleaning supplies and be like somewhat chemists. So I think now it's seen as a luxury to have that time, and thankfully society has evolved in that front, but like, I don't know what impression or what made you think that I think that the patriarchy.
What the fuck is she talking about? What does any of that have to do with a thing that Andrew just said?
It means that we get to sit home all day being
because
a mom.
You started with because we can paint our nails.
It's called a joke. You don't have to be so serious 24/7. You ever heard of a joke? Yeah. I think you'd like them.
Well, sure. But I mean, have you ever heard of a criticism, right? So the thing is like whether you're saying it in a joking manner or not, right? It moves to the point that I'm saying, which is that in modernity, women seem to have a massive sense of entitlement, including the ones who say, well, I'm a traditionalist. It's like, really? Are you? Or are you looking for somebody who can provide you for a life of luxury? Right. That's the question. Right. And usually when you get to the nitty gritty of it, when you look at what modern...
And 9 out of 9, what they're looking for is a man that can provide them with a life of relaxation and luxury.
Women want, they want a life of luxury and a man who can provide it. I don't hear them really talk about their duty.
Rather than truly believing in the duty and responsibility of being a woman.
And responsibilities, like, what is your duty to society? Do you have one?
Yes. I've said, like...
No, hers, yeah.
I've said maybe 50 times that I think being a mom is the best thing you could do, but this is why, and even though we're both...
You have a duty to be one.
Even though we're both concerned...
Pipe down, peanut gallery over here. Fuck.
Conservatives, like, that's my ultimate goal in life. I think above any career or anything, being a mom and having a family, this is not something you have to suck out of me. I say this on my social media every day, but this is why I have a problem with, despite us both being conservatives, this is something that I think for your own sake, if you really want to have impactful messaging and like continue to have people who maybe disagree, I don't disagree with you on most things, but even you, like, to actually listen to what you're saying, a lot of times when like...
Maybe this is kind of off base, but I wonder if she used to be kind of chubby, because I noticed this even during the show. She kind of has like somebody who used to be chubby but got skinny, which if that's true, good for her. But good for her. But anyways, I don't know. It's just something I noticed.
People on the far right, or I don't think you're far right, but I do think that on our side of the aisle, you can very clearly tell that the way you're speaking of it from a place where like you genuinely have disdain or hard feelings towards women. It's not.
So notice the pivot, not actually defending her position, rather just putting straw mans and accusations towards Andrew that are irrelevant to his critique.
Not from a place of like, I love women, they're so amazing, we need to support them, make them mothers, we need to let them, like, we need to protect women at home. You're like, what's your duty to society? That doesn't sound like a mature man at all. And like,
why do you think men's job is to kiss your ass? My job isn't to kiss your ass.
Who said kiss my ass? I said to actually want women to be mothers because we want to protect them.
I think you're disdainful to men. I think that you only care about materialism. Yeah. I think that those are the values that you have, and you haven't said a word about duty. But yet at the same time, your criticism to me is that if we even have a dispute or an argument.
And that's the thing, fellas, is there's two things that you guys need to understand, is that any woman that you find in the West, and I would say even overseas at this point, because feminism has long reached past the West, is has been so brought up in a world of feminism that has it at every turn, subliminal, subconscious, on the surface, right in front of you, that it is second nature. It is literally in the back of their minds, whether they realize it or not. And it's going to be hard to avoid that. Number two, and this even goes for conservative, quote unquote, traditional women. Number two is with that, in a modern capitalistic society, women can express themselves, especially in modernity, right here, right now, can express themselves in their fullness, in their full woman nature, whatever that is, manner. Part of that, by extension, is them being highly materialistic, and that is exactly what you're seeing right now. Is Andrew is pointing out that she doesn't really want to be a traditional woman. Rather, she wants a man that can provide her with the comfortable materialistic life that she desires.
Suddenly it's disdainful towards all women.
No.
I've raised women into the next generation. Have you? No. I've actually done it. And so the thing is like, before you make these insane criticisms about what the right should or shouldn't be, right, maybe you should learn things like, oh, I don't know, basic libertarian economics and laissez-faire, even though you have a degree in political science, which is fucking insane, right? I think, personally, that what you are is a misandrist and a covert feminist in disguise, LARPing as a conservative, because that's what most of you do.
Yeah, that makes, I think you misunderstood what I was saying. I wasn't one, that's barbaric, but two, like I've literally been, to say that I'm an undercover feminist when I've literally gone head to head with feminists for 5 years, and all my content and everything I believe and preach about. Let me finish. How about that? Okay, let me finish talking. I think you misunderstood what I was saying. I wasn't linking. Andrew, can you shut up for 30 seconds? Let me talk.
The patriarchy.
Right.
Andrew, try.
No woman who loves the patriarchy, pre-1900s would ever be caught saying that. What in the world?
Can somebody mute him?
Andrew, just let her finish. Andrew, just let her finish. Go ahead, Deborah.
Barking out orders to silence Andrew, please.
That laugh.
Go ahead, Deborah.
I think,
girl, please.
You misunderstood what I was saying and took it as a personal criticism when I wasn't saying it as personal criticism. I was saying that what you're saying, I agree with the majority of what you're saying, and I think it would come across better, and that this is a disconnect between men and women, even on the same side of the political aisle, or people who probably share the majority of how they think society should be run, things like that. I really do think that. I think that this is a broken messaging, and I would wish that more people would listen to this message, and I think you don't realize, listening to it, as somebody who does agree, that it doesn't seem like it's coming from a place of we should protect women as a society, and their best thing that they, like, not their only thing, but women are mothers, that's their role in society, they're the matriarchs of society, and therefore we should protect them. We shouldn't force them to work. We shouldn't have to have them working 9 to 5s and being corporate slaves to their bosses who don't care about them. 50, and I think the difference is coming from a place of genuinely loving women and understanding their importance to the world and to traditional relationships and traditional values and Christianity and everything alike. It seems sometimes that the disconnect in the messaging is that it's just coming from a place of like, you're a woman, you have a duty to do this, when rather, why do we have that duty? Like, not why do we have that duty aside from the religion, but like, where does it actually come from? Why do you truly believe that women should be protected or things like that? I just think messaging wise, and this wasn't a personal attack, I think more people would listen and they should listen. It just doesn't seem so much like it's coming off right now from a place of like, women should be protected in sports, in the workforce, in homes, and everything alike. And that's all I was saying. I wasn't trying to personally attack you. And if you really think I'm a feminist, then that's very hysterical and you have a horrible character judgment.
Great. So can I respond now?
Go ahead, Andrew.
To all that prattle? So let me just respond and say, I think it's hilarious that you say, oh, I heart patriarchy. And the second you're in a conversation with a man, the first thing you do is go, how dare you speak over me? Oh, I'm a proud and strong woman. Look at how great I am. You haven't spoken about duty at all. Yes, absolutely, you're a covert feminist. The idea here of what you're talking about is just pure tone policing. It's pure tone policing. I love your messaging, Andrew. I think you're totally right. Everything you're saying is completely correct. But if you used a different tone and kissed women's asses and packaged it in such a way that they thought you were kissing their ass, they might be more responsive to it. That's in opposition to what I want in society. What that does is it curtails truth. What that does is it makes it so that you can't actually deliver a message in its proper context, its proper form, because somebody might take offense. That is the opposite of what conservatives should be doing. And it is the opposite when you see conservatives doing that you see work. Case in point, Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump wasn't sugarcoating anything. He called women ugly dogs. He called women fat. He called them obnoxious. He called them all sorts of things. And he's the president of the United States right now. And women, in lieu, actually voted for him this time around. So the thing is like all this PC, politically correct, woke fucking nonsense of, Andrew, you must correct your tone, because when I attack you, I do it in a passive-aggressive way. And when you talk to me, you talk to me directly. I think it's bullshit. It's nonsense.
I think you just take everything I say, put it through a weird machine.
That's some bullshit. Yep, well said. Andrew, you got to admit, is a hell of a debater. Now, she's not the best debater, obviously, but the guy is wildly efficient in his verbiage and getting right down to the nitty-gritty and shedding all the external bullshit to an argument and getting down to the foundation of what the worldview is. Because as Jay Dyer commonly points out, any worldview you have does have a foundation, and that's what needs to be attacked first, because that is where everything else stems from.
And then like spew it out and think I said something completely different.
The machine's called logic.
I never said, oh my God, you're talking over me. This is highlights of what
you're such a strong woman.
This is what I think. I think you just don't like women, and that your desire for women's this doesn't come from a place of you.
It's just so priceless, guys. Anytime a woman is critiqued, even when it's a conservative, quote unquote, air quotes, conservative woman, it's always because the person hates, especially if it's a man, the person hates women. It's just such bullshit. Aren't you guys fucking tired of this? I mean, we've seen this happen time and time again. When are we going to learn? I mean, I have, but more people need to wake up. To me, what it seems like is people, men under the age of, I would say, 45 can kind of see this for what it is. It's the men over, the conservatives over, that kind of still have this remnants of chivalry where, women must be protected at all costs, and they can't see kind of the modern state of where we're at with things.
Genuinely loving and caring about women and thinking that women are special.
You know? You can read my heart now.
The way that you're talking to me, you think that I had to freak out and said your time. I mean,
I'm talking to you like
you won't let me get 5 words out. It doesn't matter if I'm a woman or you're a man. It's called a debate and a conversation. And if you're not letting the other person get 5 words out, it doesn't matter about our gender. It matters. I don't know why you think that's crazy for me to ask you to be quiet while I respond to something that you said, or let me talk for 10 seconds without jumping over me when we can only hear one person at once. That's not, and of course you attribute that to me being a woman freaking out, but really just asking you to shut the fuck up for a second.
I'm gonna let
Right.
I'm gonna let.
Right. Well, hang on. You're gonna hit me with, I heart patriarchy until the people who you would consider patriarchs are speaking to you, and then suddenly the patriarchy should be disrespected. You should talk over it. You should be able to do whatever the hell you want, right? So the second we come into this, we find out that no, your true nature is revealed very quickly. It's just another entitled, like TPUSA girl, right, spewing a bunch of nonsense and trying to pretend that you're a conservative. You're LARPing as a conservative, covert feminism.
Okay, Groiper. This is
wow.
We're talking about marriage, right?
Wow.
First of all,
why are you calling me a Groiper?
Because this is like, you're everything you.
Again, not attacking Andrew's points, attacking him with whatever bullshit perceived attack that she thinks will wound him. But no, he's a true G. He's going to power through.
Just said, like, I literally, it's just so obvious. Like, do you want to rewatch what you just said? You're telling me because I didn't because I asked you to be quiet while I was saying something because you wouldn't let me get a word out. That means that I'm a fake feminist, and because you're a man, that I should shut up and just listen to everything you say and say, yes, sir, absolutely. I know
Yes,
a ton of
sir.
leaders who are patriarchs who are much better
Yes,
men
sir.
than you are, and I don't know who you are personally, but I'm saying as you're acting now, I would never subscribe to you as a leader, but that doesn't make me a feminist. That makes me understanding of how great men can be, and I don't think this is a shining example, and I don't
This
think
is
everything you
perfect.
say is
This
good.
is actually perfect.
I think
So
strong men should lead us,
Yeah.
and if I had to make that choice about you, I don't think I would be in favor of it, but I think strong men protect women, and they care about women, and good luck to you.
This is actually perfect. So the idea here is actually that you're the leader, see? So the idea here is, wait a second. I get to determine who leads who. I get to determine where they lead them. I get to make all those determinations. After all, Andrew, if you were some kind of leader, I'd never follow you. So the idea here just moves into the regressive notion of feminism. It is all the responsibility with none of the authority. When authority is exercised, the very first thing you do is rebel against it. It's the very first thing you do is rebel against it. And so the thing is, it's like, we can see this pattern over and over and over again with all of the LARPing conservative chicks. First thing you do is call me a groiper. What the hell does groiper ideology have to do with Andrew Wilson's ideology? Nothing. Complete straw man, right? Made up because you were looking for a way to insult me. You didn't know what else to say, so that's what you said. Okay, groiper. It's like,
And you're not trying to insult me by calling me an undercover feminist LARPing as a Team USA girl?
I just let you talk. Now I can't respond. So anyway, so moving back into this, yeah, it just seems like total and complete covert feminism. It's exactly what I expect. Anytime I argue with one of the faux conservative babes online, it's always the same thing. The second you get to the heart of it, it's women should be protected. Women should have their asses kissed, right? But men should have the responsibility with none of the authority. So like here, let me give you a demonstration of this if I'm wrong. Do you think women should vote?
Yes.
Should they be able to vote to send men to war?
You mean voting on a draft?
No, just voting, period. If you vote,
I think
you
women
can
should
send
be
men to
able to
war,
vote.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, so send men and are you eligible to be drafted?
I never registered for the draft, but that is a
You can't be
position.
drafted.
I know.
You can't be drafted.
I know because the ERA never passed, and that's a position
How convenient. How convenient for you.
I've held that as an American citizen who has a right to vote. I think that women, even though as a society I don't think it would be helpful to send women to war, I understand my duty as an American that if America was in a war tomorrow and they said, you're an American, we need you to fight, this is my country, I want to defend it. But you say that I'm attacking you, but you called me a fake conservative. You said I'm an undercover LARP feminist. What makes you think of I'm a fake conservative? What does that even mean? I have ideologies. How can I be a fake conservative when I've lived my life by the
I'm laying it out
ideologies?
to you right now.
And how? What made what?
That if you say, for instance, that there should be egalitarianism, women should vote equal to men's vote, but women cannot be drafted and thus can vote to send men off to war, you're actually giving yourself a position of privilege in society that men do not have. Since this is the case, that you accept that there's privilege that women have, that men, on the other hand, do not have. You say, for instance, wait a second, I think it's my duty to get drafted. They're not going to send you to the front lines to fight. It's ridiculous. They never would. Our army would get crushed. So that doesn't even make any sense.
So you're pissed
Hang on, I'm almost done. I just let you talk. That's not first of all, it's not a conservative principle. It makes no sense at all, right? And again, this is the idea of men responsibility absent authority. Absent authority. It's still taking away authority.
That's right.
If you really wanted men to be an authority, why would you advocate women vote? That makes no sense.
Because I love voting, and I think women should vote.
Because you love voting?
Because I'm an active member of society. Okay.
Because I want to, Andrew, because I want to.
Well, this is what I mean when you take what I say and you put it, this is why I called you a groiper too. You don't think women should vote. You take what I say and you put it through a ringer it's not conservative to say that I would defend my country if we went to war because I agree with the values of American values, and I think that's worth defending if it were to come to war. But at the same time, I don't think it's a mark of a good society where women and children are protected and they're not sent to the front lines like they're doing in Ukraine right now. There have been a lot of women who've been drafted. There are situations like that. That makes me a fake conservative.
Yeah, I don't think there's been...
Not drafting, they were trying to recruit women because they've been running so low on soldiers. Can you mute? Okay. I just knew,
tell me.
you know.
I just want to answer my question.
What's your question? When you take everything I say and flip it around.
If you really want men to have the authority and women to be the followers and men the leaders, men actually have the authority, why do you advocate for women to vote? Can you actually tell me? Is women not voting going to suddenly is that going to take away every single woman from a powerful position in this entire country? Because we're talking reality. We're not talking in floofy.
Yeah, it would actually. Immediately.
Land where anything can happen right now. Why do you think women should not have the right to vote? Why do you think that?
I just told you. So if you advocate that men have the responsibility, right, but they don't have the authority, which I think you're advocating for, it's a progressive feminist viewpoint. If it were true that you wanted men to have the authority, right, and the responsibility, then you would advocate only they voted and not women. Can you actually give me an argument, any argument at all, for how that doesn't logically follow?
It doesn't line up with the original land owning and everything that was said in our Constitution to provide voting rights. The fact that women can own their own land right now. What?
Women couldn't vote. Women couldn't vote.
I know, and when we changed and gave women the right to vote, I think that was a good thing. I think it got more women involved, and I think this ideology of yours, and again, why I called you a griper, is because the majority of reason why far-right men do not want women to vote is because women tend to vote liberal. I voted conservative across the board. I voted Republican in every election, but I'm not going to defend my values that I know near and dear to my heart and the candidates that I've worked for, including Rob Astorino. I was on Trump's team on his coalition of Jewish voices. Across the board, I've helped Republican candidates get elected, so I don't really care what you have to say.
Shocker.
Say whether you think I'm fake or not.
That's not an argument. Can I actually get an actual argument from you? Here's the argument.
No, that's my response to you.
If you actually want men to have authority,
that's what he is,
and responsibility, and women to follow that authority and not have responsibility, why would you advocate women voted? That makes no sense. Can you give me an actual argument?
The strongest response for this time is that the men right now, you know the old saying where good times create strong men, or whatever it is, good times basically create weak men. And I think we're in that time zone right now where if we were in the George Washington, are you going to let me finish? Thank you.
Go ahead.
If we were at a time where masculinity was very prevalent, I think this is a large issue where you have a sassy man apocalypse, we don't have men understanding what it means to actually be men. I think that if we were in a time zone where men were strong, true leaders, then we can go to that. But when we have men out here who are soy boys, they don't want to speak up, they support abortion, they think that they should just listen to whatever their wife should do, they don't actually think that a woman has a value, they think that the woman, they should be a stay-at-home dad, a lot of things like that. I think at this point in society that if we just handed it over to the men are having a lot of problems too. We can talk about lowering testosterone levels and everything across, hiring levels of anxiety and depression across the board, and I think it doesn't make me a fake conservative to say that I think there are good male leaders out there much better than you could ever be, and if you think you're compared to Donald Trump, that's funny.
That women need to lead.
Hold on, Andrew.
Advocated that women need to lead and usurp men's authority. That was literally what you just advocated. I can't believe you said that. I literally can't even believe you said that.
Believe it.
Yes, so were women, honey. So were women.
Deborah.
Believe that. And I would take these men. I think men are much closer. Yeah, are some men weak and effeminate? Yes, comparatively to the previous generations, but it's much closer than women now versus back in the day.
Deborah.
Who's going to determine that the man is leading properly?
Does it not say in the Torah or Bible or wherever you want to reference it as that a woman should submit to a husband who is worthy
and loyal and provider?
Biblical value?
It is, because I'm very religious.
That a man should, and that's what I was saying beforehand, where I stand by what I said, that this generation, not for many reasons, not only their fault, things that came before them, what it means, I don't want to speak for men, but overall, I think if there has been a decline on both sides of gender roles, and this is by design in our society to take away gender roles and say that there's no difference between a man and a woman, which I vehemently disagree with. And overall, I think that men should be worthy leaders.
Well, it sure doesn't sound like it.
A lot of crazy men, just like there's a lot of crazy women, but...
Do you have your phone?
Yeah.
Did you not hear the instructions to not be on your phone?
I never put it back after I showed you the picture.
What's that?
I just didn't go back over there. And
okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
The picture.
Sorry, Deborah. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I stand by what I said, which I think that what it comes down to, a man who can provide, protect, and show that he is a strong...
That's funny because when I watched this, I actually did see her sneaking her phone, and she was like this. Funny.
Strong leader absolutely deserves a woman who can trust him, and this is...
Finally, Brian caught it.
I think a big
Hey, no simping here or imping here, but the one chick does definitely have a good physique.
Alignment within society where I think
for what it's worth, and she sits there ever so quietly. She shouldn't be in the workforce, but still got to give credit where credit's due.
Down, women really do want to submit to men. They want to be able, as we say in girl world, just turn your brain off when you're on a date. You don't have to
be in your
think
feminine
about
power,
where you're walking, and you can really, and what I said with the sourdough and nails and stuff like that, clearly you don't understand jokes, but that's just my style when it comes to speaking. I think embracing your femininity, women, because we've been pushed into the workforce and had to unconsciously or unwillingly take on a lot.
Pushed into the workforce, yeah. Right.
Of the male roles, like being the provider, being the protectors, things of that nature has led women to not be able to embrace their femininity. And so I think in a good relationship, a man will be able to embrace and flourish in his masculinity, and the same with the woman. And whatever that means, being a homekeeper, being a matriarch, being a really soft landing space for her husband to land on, and
good mother.
Providing that environment.
Okay, so my follow-up question to you would just be this then. If that is the case, and this is what you believe, if you actually wanted men to have the authority inside of society, and the responsibility, why would you advocate that women could vote?
Because I think you keep deleting the most important part of this, which is that not every single man right now and at large, there is a lack of strong fathers. There's a lot of things that lead into, and this is not only a male problem, there's a female problem too. There are a lot of factors that lead into men. This is like the man or the bear question, if we get to that I think not every man right now, just being a man doesn't inherently make you worthy of being a leader. I think that you have to show that you are a leader, and this is true across the history of the world.
See, again, it's for the right man. It's for the woman, the man that she chooses. She doesn't believe in the patriarchy as a whole.
Every single shepherd in the Torah and the original book was chosen for a lot of their specific qualities. There's a reason why those men were chosen to be leaders. Same with Donald Trump. There may be other men who share similar qualities to him, but there's a reason why he was chosen to lead, as opposed to any random guy that you can maybe find on the side of the street in LA who's catcalling women. I think that
By the way, I'm gonna still do that video. I have never seen a guy catcall in my life. I think that is such a bullshit statement that most feminist women make.
who are worthy and live up to what it means to be leaders and protectors, and also have kind hearts, not softies, but just overall good men, in my definition of it. I think those men are worth leading, and I don't think just because you're a man that automatically makes you a perfect, amazing leader. We've seen that throughout all of society. So
how is this argument not actually contradictory? Because you're saying essentially that you need to reduce men's authority because you don't think that they're in a good position to lead women. You don't think that men in society are good enough leaders, and since they're not good enough leaders, you need to have authority. So that
when did I say? And sorry to cut you off, but
I'm saying this is what.
When did I say?
That's exactly what she said. All right, guys. I'm gonna cut it there because I don't want this video to be like a 50-minute video. You guys can go and check out the clip as well. Maybe I'll link it in the description. There's like 10, 15 minutes left of it. It's much of the same, but you guys get the point. Be wary of this, guys. This is a big thing in the right wing, in our world, just in the sphere of talking about gender roles and interpersonal dynamics, intersexual dynamics. This is something to pay attention to. It is very prevalent right now, and we're seeing it across the board. Andrew, good on you. I'm proud of you. That's a great thing you did. It needed to be pointed out. It needed to be exposed. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay weary, guys, of these faux traditional TradCon women. It doesn't make you a TradCon woman to simply say you are a TradCon woman, that you're a traditional woman. So be sure to hit the subscribe button, like, comment. Y'all know the drill. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow and facts are feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. I love you, kings. See you guys next time. Christ is king. Peace.